So this week we have been talking about the three different forms of equations, of linear equations. The first form we talked about was slope-intercept, which is y equals mx plus b, where the m represents your slope or the rate of change in the equation. The b represents your y-intercept or your beginning point in an equation, where the x is 0. Yesterday we discussed point-slope form of equations, where you are given a slope and one of the points on the line, any of the points. So again, the m represents the slope, and the x1 and the y1 represent a point that is on that line. And again, you can use any point that you want because you will end up with the same equation no matter which one you choose. Today we will focus on the third form of linear equations, which is standard form. In standard form, we have both the x and the y on the same side of the equation, and it is equal to some number. Both the x and the y have some sort of coefficient or number in front of them, even if it's an invisible one. And in standard form, the x number is always positive. Now, there's not much we can do with a standard form equation because it doesn't really give us any information. Doesn't tell us what the slope is, doesn't tell us what the y-intercept is, it doesn't tell us a point that is on the line. So anytime we face or come across a standard form equation, we are going to turn it into slope-intercept form, or y equals mx plus b. So in order to do this, we're going to solve for y. We're going to get y all by itself. The first thing that we want to do is to change the sign in front of the x value. Now the x value should always be positive, which means you're going to make it negative. But in the rare occasion where it might be negative and they may give you a problem where the number in front of the x is negative, then you would change it to a positive before doing this. But most of the time, if it's a standard form equation, the x is positive in the problem, which means you're going to make it negative, and after you change the sign, you're going to move it over to the other side of the equation. So you're going to take the whole thing, the number with the x, and move it all the way to the other side of the equal sign in front of the c. Now after we've done that, and all we have is the y on the left side, the x and the number on the right side, we're going to get rid of the number that's with the y because we want y by itself, and we're going to divide everything by the b number. Now it could be negative b, it just depends on what the problem is. All right? If you have x plus y, then it's going to be a positive b that you're dividing by. If you have x minus y in the original problem, then you're going to be dividing by negative b. So whatever the b number is in front of the y, that's what we're going to divide everything by. So dividing b by b, that would be 1, because when you divide anything by itself, we're going to end up with 1y. And so finally, we have y equals negative a over b x plus c over b, which will look less confusing when we actually have numbers instead of just the letters. So let's do an example now. We're going to use the one that is on your paper, and you can look up here on the screen as I am about to go over how to do that problem.